Eustress deficiency cerebral infarction. That won't be the official entry on any death certificate, but it is the most accurate. It's said to be the real cause of most deaths of this kind. Officially, they call it heart failure from an unknown cause.
I've heard of this condition. They say it's a side effect of excessive stress care.
For some time, researchers have understood that moderate stress has beneficial effects. It boosts the immune system, for example. Stress motivates us and prepares us for action. It compels our body to survive. However, routine psychopath checks take our stress away from us. There are patients whose stress reaction is so numb, they can't even recognize basic stimulation of their senses. Once that happens, it's a neurological downward spiral. They become like living corpses. Eventually, their autonomic nervous system stops working and their vital functions shut down.
It's sad what we've become, isn't it? We are now capable of caring for ourselves to the point that we actually regress as living beings. We're killing ourselves with good intentions.
And the fact is, as remarkable as our medical advancements have been this century, the average lifespan is actually decreasing. The statistics make it very clear. But the public will probably never hear about that.
Well, that's hardly shocking. In this era, everything that could be called a true reason for living has been methodically removed. No one tries to talk seriously about what life should be anymore. It's not part of our culture.
The father of Rikako Oryo, the girl I mentioned earlier, he had eustress deficiency as well. Roichi Oryo. At the peak of his career, he was one of the most celebrated artists alive. Surely you've heard of him.
I'm afraid not. It's embarrassing, but I'm rather ignorant when it comes to art.
He was a genius illustrator. He created vivid, cruel nightmares using broken female bodies as motifs. From his art, you might assume he was some twisted sadist, but he was actually a strictly moral man. That's not uncommon, that disconnect between the creator and the impression their creations give, but in Roichi's case, it was rooted in a firm ideology. According to him, mankind could only control the cruelty in our nature by fully confronting it. If he forced us to look unflinchingly at the darkest depths of the human heart, he could foster the goodwill and reason necessary to quell those baser impulses. He believed his artistic purpose was to enlighten humanity and challenge us to grow.
That's a lofty goal. You make him sound like quite the saint.
But then the world changed. The spread of psychopath assessments made that kind of self-examination obsolete. We didn't have to control ourselves anymore. The machine assessments could maintain our mental health for us. And while the technology robbed his art of its purpose, I heard Roichi actually welcomed it. Like I said, he was a moral man, and his own success was never the point. His ideal of humans having a healthy mind had been achieved. The way it happened was irrelevant. Still, it wasn't easy. His mission was over and his life no longer had meaning. He was welcoming the change that would ruin him.
That's surprising. Some artists say they're above fame, but I don't believe I've heard of one who actually meant it.
Well, part of him meant it at least. Internally, he was conflicted, and he resorted to all sorts of state-of-the-art stress care methods to quiet the growing turmoil. His daughter tells me that he became dependent on the treatments over time. Stress care was an addiction he could not break.
Instead, it broke him, didn't it? Turned him into a living corpse who couldn't even sit up in bed.
Considering how much Rikako loved her father, I imagine she felt his decline was unforgivable. It's as if Roichi Oryo was killed twice. First, his talent was killed by science and technology, and then his spirit was killed by the culture that technology created.
You mean this young woman is committing these horrific murders to get revenge for her father? Is that it?
Well, who can really know what lies in another human's heart? I just hope she finds some meaning beyond revenge.